Hello and welcome to another installment of Comparative Reasoning, and we're doing today's topics. These are Kialo sent messages, and the reason I don't go to Kialo often is because everything becomes bastardized and rearranged, and although they've been working to correct it, it's just not good enough. However, I will be reading some of the things there, and you can go to Kialo, try Kialo, and converse your way away. But here's the thing. We got new microphones, lapel, interview setup for lapel microphones. This was suggested by Sunny Secular. She was like, you need to get lapels or something, because of the sound and stuff. So I've been testing it for roughly an hour and a half, trying to figure things out, and it seems to be going all good. And this is our alpha beta run because I have trust that it's going to work. I hope that it turns out well for you. And if you have any issues with the volume, please let me know. All right. I tested with my volume at the 50% level for speakers, and it seems to be all right. So let's get into this. Okay. So let me correct that. There we go. Hosts instead of host. So, all right. As you know, we do today's topics to sort of break up the monotony of any and everything else that we do. Normally it's just political stuff, although this is a catch-all topic-based channel without restraint, mainly with clearing the fog and other stuff like that. But today's topics seems to cover everything, capitalism, compliments on the job, and religion. That's what it's, that's if you're not looking at the screen. So what we do is I'll go into the topic, I'll read it, I'll read the Kialo front page that the guy intended and probably do some dissecting there, and then, or just kind of skip all that and just give my yeah, no, or something like that. So the first one is, should we worship a God that sends people to hell? And yeah, you can already hear her, huh? You can hear. So look. It's a lot that he wrote. I guess I would just blanket the things like the first paragraph. He says, "Hell is an afterlife in which evil souls are subject to suffering and often torture as punishment." Okay, I'll keep going. Some religions believe hell is eternal, while others believe it is a punishment that lasts for a limited period. So therefore, it's already optional.
So here's a better question. Should you jump into a hole that doesn't exist?
Well, wait a minute. The very bottom, what he says is, note, this discussion presumes that a God which sends people to hell exists and that hell itself exists.
So there you go.
Presumes. And but you can already tell by the opening that, it's a pizza. This is a pizza. Yeah, we like pizza, but everyone has their different options of, toppings. So since you can't decide on which one to have, look, the pizza got to have one topping and that's it. Cheese is a freebie, sauce is a freebie, the dough and stuff, the crust is a freebie. But when it comes to anything like pepperoni, anchovies, garlic, mushrooms, stuff like that, you can only have one. So if you go to every individual person, they're not going to usually choose the same damn topping. And that's what makes religion fall apart in the eyes of anyone that's critical, skeptical by any stretch of any form of the imagination. That's what kills religion. Pass the pizza and see what one topping they would put, and you're going to see something different every time. Well, there's probably about a good handful of pepperoni, a good handful of mushrooms, a good handful of, I'm vegetarian only. So go ahead, Sidra, what were you going to say?
I said it's like jumping into a hole that doesn't exist. If it don't exist, then what the fuck?
There's no point.
Exactly.
And so should we worship, should going on the term being a suggestion or, a obligation, either way, are we obligated to worship? No.
We ain't obligated to do shit.
Should we, as in a suggestion? No. And I mean, he goes on to talk about other stuff, but It says those who defend religions who believe in hell point to the fact that whether someone ends up in a heaven or hell is usually determined by their actions and choices while on earth. So is heaven or hell like another planet or something? They claim that the blame is with the person, not the God, and that fear of hell means people make better and more moral decisions during their life. They also argue that if there is a God so powerful to create a hell, it is better to believe in them and act that makes it more likely, or just say likely, the one goes to heaven. With imperfect knowledge, it is more important to prioritize our lives on earth. Now, is it more important to prioritize our lives on earth? Or should we make decisions that keep us safe in the afterlife? Should we believe in a God that sends people to hell? Look, I don't do the religious mythicist stuff because I like to nip stuff in the bud. You know, you did it, you wrong. You didn't do it, they shouldn't say you did it. It's, you know, not everything is clear cut. There's always nuance. But at the same time, come on, dude. You know, so
the thought of living your current life in preparation for when you die, something very macabre about that.
Very morbid, you know.
Well, why did you help that homeless person? So that I go to heaven.
So you didn't do it out of the goodness of your heart. You did it just so you can go to. I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah, that's like it's like the politicians. You know, yeah, I know I'm screwing over millions and millions of people and I'm hurting them, but I got paid, good. Son.
Yeah.
You know, is it worth it? So it's not a moral act to do good because you're scared of what will happen if you don't. That just shows you are an evil just waiting for a moment to happen. You're just waiting for that moment when no one's looking and you know it's safe, that you can do some more jacked up mess. And that is why when religious people talk about atheists and they just want to sin, they're projecting, because they're the ones that always do some messed up stuff to people. And then it's like, well, you know, God forgave me. How you know? What do you sound like? It's stuff like that. And it's just wrong. It is. I'm not going to live my one life out of fear that somebody's going to hurt me when I'm dead. It's like the fact that you even made it so I can die shows that you're jacked up in the first place. If I'm living my life and I'm doing good and I'm being harmless and I'm trying to be active and do the right things for people, you know, you should want me to never die. You should want me to keep on going so I can help everyone. But the way people go with religion, and the way it says in the Bible, and this from listening to just not Auden Ra, but Godless Engineer, Apologia, you know, and a whole host of others, you know, on Talk Heathen and things like that. Basically you can get into heaven, all you got to do is believe in God. You can never waver, but you just have to believe. No matter what cruel and vile things you do, you're gonna stand with God because you believed in him. And I'm thinking, you know, I would personally want my parents to believe in me so that in their old age and I have to take care of them, I can be like, hey, you did great for me. Please let me return the favor. Opposed to, screw you, no one's listening to you, nobody wants you, we're going to ignore you outright, but when that time comes, you best do what we say. That's not an even trade-off, and that just seems like a bully. That just seems like a bully. You know, so I guess we can, you know, drop this one. This is so the next one, complimenting a job well done does harm. That's just declarative.
That was a statement. It wasn't a question.
Yeah, just downright declarative.
Somebody wanted to put a statement up there. Okay.
Complimenting a job well done does harm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. Maybe. When it's declarative, it's really, you're not asking. You know, that's the problem with people. They don't know how to ask a damn question anymore.
They don't know how to answer them either.
You want to go to the store? And it's like, wait, why don't you put do you or would you? You see what I'm saying?
What I hate is, do you want to go to the store? Yeah, the chips I had were good. The fuck they got to do with going to the store?
Yeah, they ain't got nothing to do with me. You had good chips. Well, you would be my ride. Oh, so why don't you ask, would you please take me to the store to get some more chips so I can, because they were really good. Or can you take me to the store? Those chips are awesome. Can you take me? Instead of, would you share this interest in going to a place with me that benefits you not at all?
I just don't understand. People don't know how to phrase questions anymore, and they do not know how to answer the question that is asked.
So tell me.
It's very simple.
Are you or are you not a communist? You know what? The Democrats are always screwing stuff up. It's not what I asked you, man. Okay, did you butt fuck that dog last night or last week? Well, what about what you did? No. Just so clearly you're guilty.
and I'm not even talking about stuff where you're getting put into a funky ass position. I'm talking about basic questions. Are you hungry? That pizza last night was real good. I didn't ask you what the pizza was last night. I asked you, are you hungry? You do that to me.
What?
Failed to answer the question I asked.
Oh, give me an example.
You know what? I can't think of one right now because I'm tired. But you do that shit to me.
I do that on purpose.
Why?
One is esoteric. It's just my own personal comedy, and I like to see the look on your face. You're like, motherfucker, I asked you a question.
You're looking to get attacked.
And you're like, I don't know what to cook. Do you have anything in mind that you? And you're like, do you have anything in your mind that you would like to eat? Man, burgers were awesome last night. And you just that look on your face. That's why it takes so long. That's why William Shatner my answers.
You wake up in the yard.
Don't be putting me in the yard. Okay, and they're probably like, why don't y'all answer this damn question so y'all talking about it so much? It's not a question, it's a statement. Anyway, so let's
statement again.
Let's complimenting a job well done does harm. So if you want to be proper or decent, let's just say decent, because proper is subjective. So is complimenting someone on a job well done
harmful?
Yes. Or is it? Or, there's so many ways. Okay, so look, we probably just flipped that one. But anyway, and this is a short paragraph, touched on it, oh, good grief, touched on in The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. The authors present a compelling argument that complimenting others sends a message that one's competency is a measure of self-worth. This leads to observables. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to read it as it is. This leads to observables patterns in human behavior that promote narcissism, hierarchical leadership, and unhealthy competition. Now, I think I can help with this in a short frame. If you compliment somebody on the job, like, look, you did well, you did good job, and it's sort of private, then yeah, they can be like, wow, that was a little boost. That's a moral boost, a morality boost on the job. You might do better. The thing is, it will make someone say, look, if I got this compliment by doing this, if I did better, what would I get? And so it's sort of complimentary porn. I want more. It has to be a little more extreme. I got to do better, better compliments, better this, better that. Ultimately, I might get that raise, I might get that promotion, yada yada. It's part of the corporate ladder.
But see, to think about the statement, he said complimenting on a job well done does harm. So that's not just in a job. That could be you swept the floor at home.
It's like, you did good on this. Thanks. That's awesome. And it could make him feel good for a moment. But then he gets into the part where it could be human behavior that promote narcissism, hierarchical leadership, and unhealthy competition. Because jealousies, you might be working your ass off somewhere, and the other person is probably doing not as much, or they're coasting, like they're doing what you do, but they just, no, it's nothing. And they get the compliment, but you don't, but you've done equal work and you get overshadowed. And then it's like, you might be like, you know what? I'm going to get that compliment next time. I'm going to show how great I am. Fuck this guy. And so that's when it becomes that unhealthy competition.
It can. It just depends on the personality of the folk you're dealing with.
Yes.
Because some people might be like, you can compliment him all he wants. I'm still getting my paper. I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot of variables at play. Most likely, you know, giving compliments to a person, I don't think is going to promote narcissism. Either you're a narcissist or you ain't.
Yeah, like if you have, everyone has a bit of something in them. It's just to that degree of what they allow it to be is what promotes what behaviors.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody that's like, you know, oh, good job. It's like, well, thanks. Yeah, I'm better than you all. It's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
like,
quite a leap.
I've seen it, and so have you.
Yeah, that's quite a leap.
It's
so
a
that
leap.
gives you a insight into that individual's inner cognitive and personality workings.
Is crazy. Oh, and everyone, just to let you know, if you go to Kialo and you want to find it, you can put in a search and you can just copy and not copy, but you can see how the question is on the screen, and then you can just put it into a Kialo search, and you know it should pop right up. It really should, or at least some that are like it. So I guess we could say we're done with this one. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next one, 3 words. Is capitalism good? That's the next one. Is capitalism good? And
it's not enough to that question because capitalism it's not that simple.
No, it's not. I'll read the whole thing here. Capitalism is an economic and political system based on the private ownership of property and capital. That shows how negative it is right there. It is the most dominant economic system across the world. That means nothing to me. The question that becomes, is it beneficial? So it can be, and it can be a detriment. So let's see, proponents of capitalism argue that it promotes economic growth, which helps raise people's standard of living. Moreover, they argue that the system provides more choices to people and increases their overall happiness. However, critics argue that capitalism promotes inequality and is damaging to the environment. Does capitalism help achieve equality or exacerbate the inequalities? Does it provide more choices to people or take away existing choices?
It does all of those things.
Yes.
If capitalism is done right, you do have more options. Just like there used to be a ton of options of drugstores, for example. You could go to Car Drug, you could go to Eckerd, you could go to Kroger Pharmacy, you could go to Walmart, you could go to Walgreens, you could go to CVS, you could go to Rite Aid. All those options aren't there anymore.
Yeah,
you know, you used to be able to go to Farmore, Kmart, Kmart before Walmart existed. There's all the mom and pop shops. There were assortment of different kinds of stores where you had options. And when capitalism is smaller like that, where anyone can open up a store and do well, people, the suppliers will have an increased standard of living, and those demanding will get the things that they want. Okay, that's fine. You have more options. But like what we have right now in the U.S. is capitalism run amok. It's monstrous runaway capitalism, so that big ass corporations gobble up everything, and little small guys can't open up a store on a corner and do well anymore. You can't. It's just these mega conglomerates, and they just keep eating and eating and eating everything around them. And then they start creating all of these small minimum wage jobs that people can't survive off of, and then they don't have very many of those. So then you're in a situation where it is promoting inequality. Because you're not going to, you're not going to work your way up in these corporations. Where you are is most likely where you're going to stay. It's not like you're going to come in as a cashier and then own your own Walmart. And the shit don't operate like that. So, as it is in the U.S., no, it's not good. And in its infancy, in its very basic form, yes, it can be good. But the whole thing that links what is not good, when it is good, to when it's not, is greed. And humans are a greedy animal.
What we have is capitalism without socialism. And when you don't have socialism inside of capitalism, you get everything Sidra just described. Everything. So, you get the cable companies gobbling up the internet companies. And at first, the internet companies, the big ones, were gobbling up the smaller startup internet companies. Then the cable companies was like, hey, that's a good spot. We can do that. So they gobbled up those. And then they started merging with each other. That was creating, monopolies and duopolies and whatnot, which is illegal. And when you don't have socialism, you don't have competition. And socialism is a check. It is a check and balance to capitalism. Socialism allows people to control, hey, job, you have screwed so many people over. We are not doing this. You need to provide for the people the right way, and they can strike, they can walk, they can do that. And you can't get fired over stuff like that usually. That's why they had unions and whatnot. It was a balance to restore what was lost. But those are gone and frowned upon. And so people are shooting themselves in the foot by saying we don't want socialism and then conflating that with communism, which, might I add, each one of those, and this is one of my very first videos, but when you have socialism or communism or capitalism, and that is the primary source, you are not going to do well. You will ruin your area, your country, your province, or whatnot. You need, all three of them are like the branches of government. They should have been. The legislative, judicial, and executive. They all check and balance each other. So capital, social, communism would be a good check and balance for each one. Balance. People don't want balance. You demonize communism because you associate it with Russia, and then now you're associating with China. You demonize socialism because you conflate it with what was it? What was Dark Path from?
Cuba.
You associate it with Cuba. You associate it with Brazil. You associate all of that stuff with that stuff. So you demonize the two check and balances, and you only have capitalism, which capitalism is great for those who have capital that has how bad do you want what we offer? You have access to health care. You don't have health care, you have access to it. Like this dude that called on Benjamin Dixon show here, he talked about how his was. He was doing fine, and he was all right, and a freak accident happened where a tree branch fell on his head, jacked him up, and he got the hospital bill the next day after he was finally released from it, and it was way more than his entire college tuitions.
Damn.
All of them, and that ruined his life, and he hasn't been able to recover since. When you have capitalism without a check, you have what Bush did. You have when somebody hit seriously, on Wall Street, somebody hit a button and it messed up every place on the planet. And no one can check it. There's no check. So everyone got messed up because of someone hit a button and ignited the wrong thing at the wrong time. And since they've got money and they can bounce back easily, and we know that now the federal government will just give them lots and lots of money, they don't have to worry. So they don't have to feel what we feel. They don't have to feel the pain that we do because they're all right. Oh, crap. I just lost $15 million. That's all right. The government is handing out $11 trillion to all of you, but we will not give the people literally a fifth of that $2+ trillion would have helped everybody for a year. Everybody. While the corporations in their billions each, they got those trillions and we didn't. Capitalism isn't bad and it's not wrong. But when you abuse it to hurt others for your own gain, that's when it's wrong. Just like socialism, just like communism. If it's all it is, then that's how you get messed up. You know, you need checks and balances. You need it. So one of my earlier videos, we need all three of these. You know, people won't liking that. They was not liking me at all on that. But I knew at some point somebody's going to be like, wait a minute, man. And you got people like Suck My Opinion. He's like, I am a communist. And you got others that are starting to call themselves communists, mainly just to spit in the face of the racist. But they've been doing some research, and I think they're trying to redefine what everyone has believed but not known about communism. Maybe that's what's going on. But is capitalism good? No. Capitalism with check and balance is good. Capitalism by itself, that's horrible. That's horrible. So yeah, hopefully the sound comes out well. I'm going to listen to it and then upload it anyway. I'm not going to spend any time bass boosting it. I'm not going to do that or anything like that. I don't really do that anymore. But if it is too low, then I'll put it in Filmora and I'll increase the volume that way. And that'll take about 8 hours to render, so I'd rather not. But, you know, do you have anything else to add, love?
Nope.
All right, so this has been Cedric and Sidra on today's topics from Comparative Reasoning. Thank you for listening.